Hello, everybody. I am doing another interview this morning with my Be Good to You video series. I'm so excited to interview one of my most amazing friends that I've gotten to know in the last year and a half. He has helped me in this journey of transformation. And so, David Bush, I would just love to introduce you and bring you into this world of mine of being good to you. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview.
You bet. Excited to jump into it.
All right. Well, let's get started. So I wanted to ask you three different questions. So I'm going to start off with sort of share with me your health story and how you weren't being good to yourself in the past.
Sure. Well, I grew up in a family where we were considering food as fun and food as fellowship, food was love. And so we ate a lot of it, and it was kind of celebrated because I was an athlete, and as you know, I played football, and it was something I excelled at. But the culture that I was in was promoting bad health and not being good to you. And so I didn't really know anything different. I just continued to live that life, even though I didn't like being the chubby kid or didn't like being the biggest guy all the time, because it wasn't necessarily healthy and it didn't look healthy. And people reminded me of that often. But oftentimes I took that negativity or those emotions that were negative and I fed myself even more. So when I wasn't being good to myself, I increased that, unfortunately. I don't know why we do that, but, food soon became medication. It became, the feel-good thing that I could kind of get away for a season or a short period of time from some of the things that I didn't like in my life. And because it was so much a part of my social culture that I just continued to not treat myself well. And that went on for a season, and it was fine for when I was playing football, but then I got done playing football and I ended up just kind of getting into a sedentary job, and slowly those habits of not being good to you kind of catch up with you. And they caught up with me at the age of 35. I had 2 back injuries, back surgeries that I had to have taken care of. And there's a great quote. I don't know who said it. It's kind of an anonymous one, I think, but it says, "To the one who has health, they have many dreams, but to the one that doesn't, they have but one." And when I was not being good to me, I had one dream, and that was to be healthy again, because I had 3 beautiful kids, a wife, I was a sole income provider. I needed to be good to myself, but I just honestly couldn't figure out how to eat right and exercise consistently and enjoy it, or enjoy the outcomes to keep doing it. It's because I started and stopped a lot of other things. But that's a little bit more about my background. And then I made a decision to be good to me, and my life changed forever.
That's awesome. I think a lot of the times people think of self-care and self-love as being selfish. And so when we take a moment to sort of realize that if we're good to ourselves, that we can be 100% in every area of our life. And so it's really interesting that you talk about food being sort of your crutch to not really deal with things. So I can appreciate that. So what habits currently and mental well-being practices do you do now to be good to yourself?
Well, I went through a healthy lifestyle coaching program that taught me some simple nutrition habits, and that was a big part of just being in a relationship with a coach, having somebody to kind of guide me through simple systems to learn how to eat healthier and find ways that I could overcome the barriers or the obstacles and the social challenges. So, I eat every 2 to 3 hours, and I find protein, carb balance, fuel that basically gives me good energy and, helps me to stabilize some of those blood sugar cravings that I used to get, because, oftentimes when you're bad to you and you make those unhealthy choices, and you may even call it being good to you, like, I deserve this, I earned this, I ran, and so I should deserve this piece of pie. And we can be good to ourselves with some of those unhealthy choices every once in a while, but I wasn't doing it well, and it was causing me to want more of it. I didn't know that. That was some of the things that I learned as a part of this health coaching program I went through. But after losing 100 pounds and seeing how that process and how fueling your body for health really is the best thing you can do to you, because it affects every other area of your life, how you think, how you talk to other people, how you feel about yourself. And so when I started those healthy nutrition habits and started to seek out more ways to get more activity rather than just exercising, I started thinking about ways that I could burn more calories just in being an active dad and an active husband and going for more walks. I mean, I do walking meetings now, so I'm a little bit outside the box, but it's been something that's been very good for me.
That's awesome. I liked what you said about food as being a reward. I like to, I used to do that all the time. Oh, I worked out, so now I can run through Starbucks, and then I would just erase everything that I had done. And so, yeah, it's hard to get out of that mental shift of not treating ourselves, so to speak, like a dog. We reward dogs with food, and that's not who we are. So we want to reward ourselves with just feeling good and being good to ourselves in that sense. So if you were to give anybody some advice and encouragement on how they can be good to themselves, what would you say to them?
I'd say that if you're not feeling like you've been good to yourself and you're beginning to feel the symptoms or side effects of some of the choices that you're making and you're not liking that, is that I would focus in on what you really want to create in your life. Rather than focusing in on the problems that you have or the pain in your life, I would focus in on the outcome that you would want to create. Because if you're chasing an outcome and you're constantly refining and defining that outcome, you're going to be a whole lot more likely to stay on that journey than if you're just identifying pain points or problems that you want to get rid of. I mean, it's okay to say that you want to lose weight or you want to eat healthier, but at the end of the day, it's not what we're eating that's the problem. It's oftentimes what's eating us. And so by really helping you to create the life that you desire, physically, mentally, vocationally, financially, that helps people to go do the things that maybe they don't necessarily want to do, that doesn't feel like that they're being good to them. Like, oh gosh, I'm depriving myself of this choice or that, perk or that, benefit of being unhealthy. But if you look at it, you actually can see, you know what? I'm depriving myself of all those unhealthy feelings and all those unhealthy habits and the consequences that go with them when I make healthy choices and I pursue the life that I desire rather than focusing in on the food. So that's probably been my biggest takeaway.
That's awesome. Yeah, deprivation, looking at it differently is interesting, because once I started to look at the things that I was health-wise depriving myself of, like holding my breath while I was tying my tennis shoes, that was huge for me. So to make that mental switch, that's great advice. Thank you so much, David, for joining me today on this video series, and I look forward to continuing to partner with you to help people get healthy and to be good to themselves. So thank you very much for joining me.
Be good to you.
All right. Thank you.